Melbourne Stage 4 lockdown could be extended. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee and let's have a look at this news.com.au article discussing the potential extension of Melbourne's Stage 4 lockdown. It was written by journalist Ali Foster. Now, the problem is with these lockdowns, with these restrictions on personal freedoms, with the complete shutting down of the economy in Victoria, the path out of it hasn't been clearly articulated. There's no article, there's no list, there's no points, there's no measure, no staff we can hold against what Daniel Andrews and the Victorian Parliament are doing, or the Victorian leadership are doing. So what's the path out? What is the exit strategy? If you found it, let me know. Please share it, because I haven't been able to find it or see it. It hasn't been clearly articulated. And that's a concern. That is the biggest concern out of all of this, because, well, people will lose hope. People will get desperate. If you give people a path, a strategy, a journey, if you let them know, okay, we're doing this, these are the strategies, this will be implemented. When we hit this, boom, then it'll be lifted or changed. Feels like it's all a bit fly in the pants, doesn't it? I wonder if our good libertarian politician, I guess she's not really libertarian, Fiona Patten, from the recent party, who supported the 6-month extension of emergency powers. I wonder why they didn't say we need to have a roadmap out. Melbourne residents have been issued a grim warning about the city's tough Stage 4 restrictions. Your concerns the lockdown could be extended beyond the September 13th deadline. Though Victoria's pandemic cases have dipped below 100 on Saturday for the first time in 2 months, Premier Daniel Andrews said the figures were still too high for Melbourne to move down to Stage 3. Why? What's that based on? I'd like to see not the case numbers, I'd like to see the hospitalization rate. At 194 and 114, whatever the number, we simply could not open up, he said on Sunday. The problem is, they're locked in now to this strategy. They're locked into being tough, to showing leadership. Because if they were to reverse, that would be just a disaster for them politically. This is the problem. They're committed. They're committed. This will forever be part of Daniel Andrews' identity. Maybe he'll try and ride it to the Labour leadership. What could you imagine? Prime Minister Dan Andrews. Just dwell on that for a moment, guys. While I have a sip of coffee, let me know what you think about that idea. Those numbers would explode, and we would finish up, and perhaps an even worse situation than where we were in recent months. We cannot fritter away all the good work and sacrifice. Once we see these numbers fall further, we'll be able to talk in more definitive terms. We all want this second wave to be defeated, but it needs to be defeated properly. Mr. Andrews said it was still too early to say whether restrictions could be eased at the end of the 6-week lockdown, but assured residents a plan would be in place soon. These case numbers are too high for us to open up, and they are still too high for us to put forward a definitive plan, he said. Why? Why not? Why can you just say the definitive plan is based on this number that we reach here? There will be a plan. It will come soon, but it will be one that we can be confident of. Not something that potentially gets a few people being happier, but then ultimately has to be reversed because it doesn't mean much when you first announce it. So he doesn't want to say anything because he's worried that they'll have to renege on their promises. I thought that was a politician 101. The Premier said the government is aiming to give Victorians a clear sense of the different stages that will be implemented over the next few months. However, if Mr. Andrews wants to keep any restrictions in place, he will need support from the Victorian crossbenchers to extend the government state of emergency powers beyond 11:59 on September 13th. And he has it. He has it. Mr. Andrews has been pushing for a 12-month extension of the state of emergency powers to allow the government to keep the rules in place they deem necessary. We can see here, these are the case numbers. Now, I'm seeing some articles appear about drastic inaccuracies in some of the reported case numbers. I mean, nothing's foolproof with any methodology you use. We'll have to see if there's any more to that. But remember, they're just reporting the infections. They're not reporting the mortality or the cure rate. The people who are recovering from this through their own biological processes. It's this amazing thing about people, isn't it? Though he has continually assured Victorians the restrictions won't be in place longer than they need to be, he has copped fierce backlash since announcing his plans last Monday. Former Victorian Premier Jeff Kennett blasted Mr Andrews as a megalomaniac, labelling his plan as a grab for dictatorial power. It does seem like that, doesn't it? It really does seem like that. The Andrews government has reportedly backed down on a 12-month extension, agreeing to push for a 6-month extension instead. The vote will be put to the Victorian Parliament on Tuesday, though it is still unclear whether the extension will have enough crossbench support. Mr Andrews said very productive discussions were taking place on the issue, adding that he was confident the Parliament could come to an agreement. I'm confident that as Parliament sits next week, we'll get both a set of arrangements that protect public health, but also give us the legal certainty to have a plan to open up, he said. A plan that runs for a considerable period of time. Mr Andrews also said it was likely Victoria's state of disaster could be extended before it ended on September 2nd. The state of disaster has a different purpose to the state of emergency and was brought in on August 2nd to allow government to introduce some of the strictest rules associated with Melbourne Stage 4 lockdown. The 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew, the ban on travelling more than 5 kilometres from your home, are some of the restrictions the state of emergency powers allow for. I mean, just think about that. They're all under curfew like children in Victoria. They're all under curfew like children. 8 p.m, that's my kids' bedtime. The older kids. I haven't got that advice yet, but I think it's likely we'll extend those arrangements. They're the ones that sit behind curfew and a number range of stage 4 measures. A number of stage 4 measures, he said on Sunday. Victoria recorded 114 new cases and 11 deaths. 9 of the 11 deaths were linked to aged care outbreaks, with the state's death toll now at 524. Now, I had someone who wrote in the comments that I'm heartless about the deaths and the comorbidities. That's life. Death is a part of life. I think a lot of people don't appreciate that, or maybe have not encountered it, or maybe don't realize that you need to prepare for it for your whole life. It could happen any moment. Is it worth destroying the economy to offset it? And is this Dan's path to Labor leadership, potentially, a more senior position in the Labor Party here in Australia? What do you think, everyone? What do you think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create, there are a few ways you can. You can join the channel on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy a merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care. Have a great day. I will see you all in the next episode.